Hello, guys. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. Now, I think like 3 weeks ago, I made a community post. There was, I think, 18 characters on that thing, and I asked you guys what it was. Of course, I knew what it was, but you guys didn't. So I had you guys guess it. It was the cast that I thought of for my Total Drama All Stars rewrite. So I think we're all aware of how trash Total Drama All Stars was. So I'm deciding to redo it. Now, if you saw the community post, you already know what the cast is. I don't need to hide it anymore. Yeah, this is the cast. Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's get started. Okay, so we start just as same as the original All Stars, where Chef is walking down a prison cell and he gets to Chris's cell where he's playing with bugs and he makes Chef 2.0. Chef gives Chris the contract and tells him that he is finished his sentence of prison, which was a year. So now that he's released, the producers want to make another season. Now Chris is immediately on board, and then we cut to him being on the island. Now, while he was on his year sentence, they cleared out all the toxic waste, so no mutant animals and no toxic waste. All the contestants get knocked off the plane again. I'm gonna go off memory, and then I'm gonna refer back to the photo I made of the team so I don't forget. So I believe that Team 1 has Courtney. Let me put it up here. Gwen, Duncan, Brick, Joe, and Lightning. I think Team 2 had Alejandro, Owen, Lindsay, Dawn, Zoe, and Scott. And then the last team is down here. Anna Maria, Cameron, Harold, Heather, Lashana, Mike. Okay, so Chris tells everybody to get into their swimsuits, and the challenge is the same as the original, where you have to jump off the cliff into shark-infested water. Then you got to grab a key, go into one of those baby carriages from season 3. So the first team to unlock it will win, and the other two teams, the second person to the spa hotel will claim second place, but only first place will actually get the spa hotel. The second team will just be safe from elimination, which will be happening in episode 1, by the way. They'll be going in alphabetical order, so Anna Maria, then Cameron, then Lashana, not Lashana, then Harold, Heather, then Lashana, then Mike, Alejandro, then Dawn, then Lindsay, Owen, Scott, then Zoe. The first person going will jump, and then the last person will push the baby carriage. So Anna Maria jumps off first. She grabs a key. She's able to fight off the sharks. She's getting to land. She gets pushed by Mike, where he unlocks Svetlana and is able to push the thing extra fast, and they get to the spa hotel, and she can't unlock it. So they go back. Alejandro jumps off. He's pushed by Zoe. They try the lock, and it is unsuccessful. Now, Alejandro has a confessional where he complains that he's at a major disadvantage, but he realizes that it could have been way worse. And he realizes that he could possibly sway Lindsay, Owen, and probably Scott, since he doesn't have the best reputation either. Now Alejandro heads to the back. Brick jumps. He swims away from the sharks, grabs a key, goes into the baby carriage, and Lightning speeds him, and they get to the thing in no time, but it doesn't work, and he goes to the back of the line. Courtney jumps off. She fights off the sharks, and gets pushed by Brick, and it's not the right key. Cameron jumps off, gets attacked by the sharks, and he gets chewed up and spit out without getting a key. Dawn was able to avoid the sharks, and Autumn gets in the cart, pushed by Alejandro. It doesn't work, and now while the challenge is happening, Gwen asks Courtney if they could talk, while Joe and Lightning are kind of bickering right now. Courtney says there's nothing to talk about. Gwen tries to apologize about the whole Duncan fiasco. Courtney says not right now, we have a challenge to win, and pushes Duncan off while he's just looking at the water. Lindsay jumps off. She also gets attacked by bears and by sharks and doesn't make it. Duncan gets a key, but it doesn't open the door. Same with Harold. Owen is able to make a big splash just like he did in season 1. He grabs a key, but Lindsay tells Owen that he is too heavy and that she can't push him. Gwen jumps off. She grabs a key and she gets pushed by Duncan. Duncan tries to flirt with her, but Gwen isn't in the mood and they don't get the right key. Heather jumps off. She grabs a key and Harold is naming off facts about random stuff about sharks. Heather shuts him up by slapping him, and she's able to unlock the spa hotel, and Team 3 wins the challenge. But Team 2 and Team 1 still have a chance to gain immunity. But Scott is still super scared that he won't make it. Joe is already in the water. Zoe tells him to suck it up and pushes him off. He gets attacked by Fang and doesn't make it. And then Joe wins the challenge for Team 1, which means Team 2 has to go to elimination. Alejandro goes to Scott and tells him that him and Alejandro have to make an alliance because the 4 of them will definitely target him. And Scott says, "Who do we vote?" And Alejandro says that he'll vote his way if he votes Alejandro's way in return next elimination. Scott says yes, whispers in his ear telling him to vote someone, but they can't do it alone. So they go to Lindsay and tells her that they're voting blank. You'll see who they're voting for once we get to elimination. Lindsay says that she doesn't know if she should vote them, and then Alejandro gets her on their side. Zoe and Dawn know that they need to either vote Scott or Alejandro because they're both really big threats, and keeping them any longer could send the whole team into disarray. Dawn agrees, but she asks who they should target. Zoe says Scott. Dawn says Alejandro, and they have to vote someone. They go to Lindsay, and this is happening before the conversation with Scott and Alejandro, by the way. Lindsay says that she'll vote Scott. Zoe goes to Alejandro and says that they'll vote for Scott. And then Scott goes to Dawn and says they'll vote for Alejandro. So these 3 are voting someone. Zoe votes Scott because Alejandro thinks she'll do it. Dawn votes Alejandro because she thinks Scott will do it. They're both planning to backstab the other. Zoe was planning to backstab Alejandro once Scott was gone, and then Dawn was planning to backstab Scott once Alejandro was gone. And then Owen votes Scott along with Dawn. So the 3 of them decide to vote Owen. So that is 1 vote Alejandro, 2 votes Scott, and 3 votes Owen, making him the first eliminated contestant. Lindsay apologizes to Owen, telling him that she voted him. Owen says it's okay, and they hug. Owen is still really nice to Alejandro, even though he knows that Alejandro turned on him. Scott doesn't really care. Zoe and Dawn, even though they don't know him that well, they still wave goodbye as Owen goes to the dock of shame and leaves the game. Alejandro is very happy with the results, and Scott also happy with the results. Dawn is now very mad at Scott, but she tells herself that she should have expected this and that she was planning to do the same thing to him anyway. Zoe is mad at both of them, and she vows revenge on both of them.